Okay.
Then you will see Python 3.6.4. You can download that. Yeah, you can download and yeah.
So, Abhilash, am I going to work simultaneously or?
So, okay, yeah, I didn't tell you about that. So one thing that I thought was, you get these slides and materials all over the place in internet, right? So me giving you a slide doesn't make any sense. But instead, I can teach you how to write a code. Because that's what you need, because you guys are planning to develop, you guys are going to learn something, right? So you need some hands-on experience on how to write the code, how to debug the code and all those things. So the way we can conduct this session is I'll share my screen, I'll write the code, you can try the same thing in your system, because unless you try writing it in your system, you will never, so the learning of a programming language is actually not on how to write the code, it's more on how to debug the code. It's on how to fix the errors. So until and unless you write a code, you will never know how to fix an error, right? And in Python, like making a mistake is very easy, like, and finding that particular mistake is really difficult because of the syntax. I'll show you how, right? I can just give you a small example. Like, for example, if I say, let's open workspace.
And we can get the videos, right?
Oh yeah, you can download the recordings. Yes.
Okay, I mean, we need to record or you guys can
No,
give?
you don't have to. You can ask the LearnTech guys. They record all the sessions that we are doing right now. It's being recorded right now.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll show you like how easy it is to make an error in Python. So let's say I have a function here. Okay, I'm saying hello. Okay, and I'm going to say and hello world. Okay. So if I'm saying just print hello world, and I can go here. Oh, where did it go? No. Okay, so this is, if I say Python 3 hello world, it comes. But if I just have to make an intent, it probably would throw an error, right? So a single space, I didn't do anything, I just gave an extra space. A single space would throw the whole thing out of balance in Python. So writing the code in Python is a little bit tricky part. So if you want to get any basic tutorials or anything, the Python documentation is really good. Okay, whatever you search for Python, whatever syntax you need, you get everything in this website. And this thing is really handy. So we really don't need any kind of slides. Instead, I'll teach you how to write the code and how to debug the code, how to set up Python and all those things. So that everybody has access to Google these days, right? So let's.
Yeah, that's the one we thrive on anyways.
Yeah. So let's. I hope you all have installation administrative rights in your system, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's download Python 3. Okay. So there are different kinds of Python. So one thing that you will see after you learn Python is people will be asking which Python you are using. So there are Python called Iron Python or J Python, C Python, then I don't know, R Python, everything. So the thing is, Python is a generic programming language, and it's more of a scripting language. Okay, so there are two. There are two kinds of programming language in this world. One is called as the compile time language, and the second time a scripting language. Okay, I'll just write it here itself. Okay, there are two kinds of language. One is Compiled. Second is interpreted. Okay. So what is compiled language? Compiled language are the languages like C, Java, all the high-level programming languages. Okay. C, Java, and what is interpreted language? It is your shell, Unix shell. Python, Ruby, these things are interpreted languages. So what does compile language do? In the compile time language, you write a piece of code, then you press something called build. So that will build the whole, that will convert the code that you have written in that particular language into a machine form where your PC can understand, okay, or the machine that you are running in can understand. What is interpreted language? It doesn't compile the language. Every single line is being parsed, and those lines are being interpreted on the fly and converted to a machine instruction, and that is being run. So there is no concept of building and creating a binary in Python. Okay, so these are called interpreted languages, and compile languages are other high-level languages like C. So I hope everybody would have installed. Did you download Python 3.64?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can double click and install, and make sure you might see a section while installing. It is called as add to system variables. Make sure to check that, because otherwise the Python will not be included in your system variables, and you will not be able to run the code. Okay. So I think once you have installed Python, you can actually open the command prompt in Windows by going to, you can search for, in start, you can search for CMD, okay, and just type Python in CMD and see whether you are able to get this prompt. So this one. This is what we are interested in. Okay. Don't care about my version. I am still running a little bit older version, 3.6.3, but 3.6.4 has been released, but I have not updated yet. Okay. Anybody having any issues in installing?
No, I'm there.
So you guys are able to get the Python prompt in CMD. Okay. Anusha, you're good?
I'll try later.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I am setup was successfully installed, but I didn't ask any variables and all anywhere.
Okay. So if you open your command prompt from in
Okay.
start, go to CMD, type Python in it. Is it able to detect?
Just I'm doing.
Yeah.
Python is not recognized as an internal or external command.
Yes. So that is because the Python was not included in the system variables. What we can do is, can you share your screen? I
Yeah.
can fix it for you right now. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So how to accept the sharing?
Yeah, just a moment. I can. Kishore. Yeah, I'm making you as a host,
Yeah,
so you can.
sharing my screen.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So can you go to start?
Yeah. Okay.
My computer, we don't see anything.
Okay. I'm sharing it again. Okay.
Okay. So just a moment. Is it possible for me to control?
Yep. Do I need to give any control?
Let me just see.
Yeah. Now I think you can able to do.
Yeah. Disable path link limiter. Price max off. Okay. Let's. You have Python. Okay. Oh,
Yep.
I think I'm having some trouble in accessing your system. So, what I think you should do is,
Yeah, I think are you able to see now?
I'm able to see now, but I am not able to control.
Oh, okay. So are you control again?
Yeah, I think now I'm good.
Yeah.
If he touches the mouse, I mean, you'll lose the control.
Oh yes. So one thing would be, let's see where the Python was installed first in your system. So that should be somewhere in C drive. Uh, so that should be in C. uh, Okay, we just have to find out first where it got installed, because that is the place from where we are going to take it. It is not inside this.
Or we can search, right?
Uh, so we don't exactly need Python this one. So 1 second. Okay, it's easier if I try installing it again. Is it
Yeah.
okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. I think I lost the control again. Can you just close that screen? What you see? System configuration.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I think I'm back. Yes, and add it here.
Uninstall.
No, 1 second. Let's see where it was installed. So this usually happens with Windows. When you install, I think in Windows 7, it gets installed properly. It takes all the proper system variables. But in Windows 10 app, so I've seen this issue happen with a couple of people. So meanwhile, so in order to write code in Python, you can use any kind of text editor that you are that you want to use. There is no issues that you have to use this and that. I don't have any. So my personal choice was Visual Studio Code. I don't know whether you have heard about it. Visual Studio Code is a new code editor. It's an open source code editor released by Microsoft recently. So that is the code editor that I'm going to use for this session. But there are so there are many IDEs that are available for Python. Those are like paid ones, which are remove features. Python git install next. Okay, associate add Python to environmental variables. Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you redo
This is the option that we were looking for. Add Python to the environmental variables.
So just go back and redo that. How did you get there?
Sorry.
When you say install.
Yeah. So there is a option called modify.
Oh, okay.
So when you click modify, then you will have an option called add Python to the environmental variables. So that is your system variable. So what system variable does is these are the default paths that your computer have privilege to access. Okay, so that it can be accessed from anywhere. So for example, now if you see, I can close this command prompt and open it again. Python 3.64. You're in.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. And I think.
I need to stop my screening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can click the LearnTech Academy and give the host privilege back to me. Yeah. So you have your meeting screen? Yeah. Okay. I think that's all right. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So, so I think as we have installed Python, the next is Visual Studio Code. Search for this. Okay, Visual Studio Code editing redefined. So this is what we are interested in. Okay. This is again a cross-platform code editor. It is available for Windows, Linux, as well as Mac. Okay, and it works pretty much the same everywhere. So you don't have to worry about whether you are using which operating system and this one changes. So I prefer using Visual Studio Code. All right. So you can download this. And this has the feature of detecting your installed Python system inside, and it automatically links to the GUI. So you can do all kinds of things right from the code editor itself. Okay, you can install this.
This is from the Microsoft or?
It is from Microsoft, yes.
No, the download. Okay, the download.
So yeah, you can code.visualstudio.com. So you just have to Google search for Visual, not for Visual Studio, search for Visual Studio Code. Okay.
So do we need to, I mean, like enable any of the, here it is asking add open with code action to Windows. Do we need to?
Yeah. So what happens on those things is when you double click, it opens the code in Visual Studio Code. Yeah, sure.
Shall I enable everything?
Yeah, you can enable, yes. All right. And so save. So what I'll do is I'll close my code So once you are done, you will be getting this file. This will be your home screen. Okay. Let me know when you guys reach here. So just open Visual Studio Code. You will get to see this window.
Yes, I'm able to see that screen.
Okay, awesome. So do you see this tools and languages here? Install support for JavaScript, TypeScript, Python.
Just
Yeah, click Python. Did you see that tools and language support?
oh yes, yes.
Yeah,
Click
yeah,
on
go click Python. So that would open a side extension window for you,
Mhm.
and you will see that Python 0.9.1, the first one. Do you see this? Python from Microsoft.
No.
Or you can, so on your left hand side, do you see the square thing? The
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth option
Yeah.
square.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, go there and search for Python.
Yes.
Then you will see Python 0.9.1 from Microsoft, and you will have an install button right here.
Okay.
Install it.
Enable
Yeah,
workspace.
yeah. And once you install it, then it will ask for reload,
Okay.
right? Yeah, click reload. Then yeah. So that completes the support for Python in Visual Studio. Okay. So now you can use Visual Studio Code for writing Python, debugging Python, running Python, everything. Okay, you can do a step by step inside the code, and you can see how it works. All right.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So we installed Python. I gave a small introduction of Python. So how we are going to proceed in this section is, first now I'm going to teach you all the basic concepts of Python. Like I'm going to you need to give.
One quick thing, I mean, Python 0.9.1, what do we
Yeah.
do with that? We click
Sorry.
that.
Yeah, you install. You will have an install button. Yeah, like this. Like if you click install, it gets installed. That's it.
There is,
So if you get install, it will say install. That's it. Then you will have to click reload. It will reload. Okay. Yeah.
it just shows up, what is
That's
that?
it. That's it.
Setting option, that's it. Okay.
That's
So,
it. So once you have installed, you will see disable and uninstall. These are the only two things you are supposed to see,
yeah, got it.
right? Which means the Python is already integrated to your system.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'll give you a small intro on this code editor. So the first one is a search bar. Okay. Second one is your Explorer window. So third one is your source control, which we are not going to use. If you want, you can actually link it to GitHub. Or the fourth one is debug window, which we will be using later in this session. Okay. So you can go to the second one, which is the Explorer window, and you have something called open folder. And in the open folder, you can select it to which folder you want Python to start with. So I select like Jan 20, this is this session. And if I give open, it opens all the code which are present inside that. And whatever I write here, whatever new file I create here, it goes and sits inside that folder. Okay. So this section is called as your workspace. All right.
So there we need to create a folder, right?
You can so first thing would be like you will be having something called open folder. You can open the folder and link it to any place you want. So here, so you have this open folder window. You can link it to any folder that you want and click open. That would open you the Explorer window. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, how we are going to proceed? I'm going to give you the basic introduction that is required for the programming. That will be the first 2 weeks, like for 4 classes, which would be like I will go in detail between how to use data types, how to use what are the different features that are available in Python, what are conditional statements, what are loops, what are string, how to use strings, list, tuple, dictionaries, how to write functions, and we will also see on the way we will write some sample programs, okay, so that you guys will get familiar with the coding environment and how to write the code and these things, right? And after that, once we have finished our basic course, what we will do is we'll step into a little bit more advanced features where how to create your own libraries and how to create your own modules. And uh, let's say like we will do a small, like one session, we will write a code which is like more than 100 lines, okay, from scratch. Uh, like we would form our own ideas and we will do a small project kind of thing hands-on so that you guys also will get an idea of how to think for Python. Okay, it's not like writing shell scripting or anything, right? So there are many features, and so that you will get a idea of how to use these features. And after that, we will step into some more advanced features that Python offers. Okay, uh, those also will be like how to write a generator and all those kind of things. How so that's how this course is going to be. Yeah. So we will. So this is all about programming, how to write code. Okay. So once, and also I will also teach you how to look for you existing libraries that are available online, because most of the things that you want to do, somebody has already done it. And because it is Python and because this is a part of open source, you will get all those libraries in GitHub, and they have a good documentation too. And you have something called Python package installer. Somebody would have created a package for it. But if you know how to find it, then you will save a lot of time on using Python. Okay. Like even right from data science to data warehousing, almost everything is all like whatever you can think of is already done. And you already have libraries available for that. All you have to know is how to use those libraries. You don't have to write it from scratch. Okay.
All right.
All right. So we have right now installed, we have our main thing set up. So basic building blocks of Python is, I would just create a README file here. That's just simple. Okay. So basic building blocks, you have something called, first one would be variables. Okay. Second one would be data types. Third one would be statements. Okay. And you have expressions. All right. So what is a variable? Uh, basic variable is A, B, whatever you see, whatever you assign a value to, it's called a variable. The value can change at any point of time. Okay. So, and data type. There are different kinds of data types that are available. There are integers, floating point, Boolean, etc. All right. So let's say, so what is an integer? Integer is a whole number. Okay. 1 is an integer, 2 is an integer, 3 is an integer. Okay. 100 is an integer, 1000 is an integer. These are called integer numbers. Okay. Integer numbers are whole numbers. Okay. Then you have floating point. Floating point numbers are anything that comes with a decimal point. All right, 3.145 with a decimal point. Okay, then anything if 100.23, it's a decimal point. So this is a floating point numbers. So anything that does not have a dot is an integer. Anything that has a dot is a floating point. Okay, and you have Boolean, that is true or false. Okay, true or false are Boolean values. Okay, so these are more like whether a statement is correct or not, or it's 0 or 1. Then then you have something called expressions. Expressions is more like 1. You can do 1 plus 2. Python evaluates it as 3. You can say 1 plus 2 into 3. Python knows how to do those things. So these are the basic expressions, which the Python can do any kind of mathematical expressions, and it is also pretty quick about it. So, and fourth one, a statement. What is a statement? Statement is, if I say A is equal to 10, this is a statement. Okay, and the value of A is now 10. B is equal to 20. So the value of B is 20. I can say C is equal to A plus B. Value of C is 30. All right. So these are your basic statements. All right. So and oh yeah, I forgot to say one thing. So this is called as the Python interactive shell. Okay. So you don't write code in here. So every line that you write is interpreted on the fly the moment you press enter in this code. Okay. So you can launch it by going to a command prompt and saying Python. In Mac, it is Python 3. In Windows, it is just Python. Even in Linux, it is just Python. Okay. Yeah. So once you get this, you can say if you want hello world. It prints hello world. Okay. So every line that you write here is interpreted and evaluated the moment you press the return or the enter key. All right. So moving forward, so this will be the, so we will be using the Python, I'll be using for this session, I'll be using the Python interpreter shell to show the basic features before writing the code. Okay. Python code in a text file is nothing but a group of statements collected together, which will be interpreted one by one, but just like you will not see it on an interpreter. It will be the backend interpreter. You will not see these printing statements. It will just interpret it as one. All right. So, and there are different kinds of number systems that programming use. We know that people are usually using the normal number system where we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? These are the basic numbers that we have. But in programming, usually what happens is the number system that we usually use starts from 0, ends in F. It is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. So these are the numbers that a programming language has. I'll tell you how to arrive on all these things. So have you heard of Boolean? Boolean, right? So Boolean values are usually 0 and 1, right? So a machine can interpret only zeros and ones. So whatever data that you write in your system and that you store in your hard drive is stored as zeros and ones. Okay. So so usually what happens is the basic memory of a computer, it is called as, it is 32 bits or 64 bits, right? So what is 30? So you would have seen like when you buy your laptop, you would have seen it's a 32-bit laptop or it's a 64-bit laptop. So 32-bit means it can store up to 32, it can read up to 32 ones at the same time. Okay. or it can understand up to 2 raised to 31 numbers. Okay, it can understand up to 2 raised to 31 numbers at one shot. All right. So what we do is the number system. We take this 31, 32 and divide it into 4 bits. Okay. So it will be like 4 plus 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 4. It is divided like this. So every number can hold up to 4 zeros and 1s. So it starts like this. It is 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. Oh, sorry. Oh, A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. So when it comes to Python, or when it comes to any machine language, so this is what it sees. The machine sees. Okay. So machine is 0001. Then you have 0010. Okay. Oh, sorry. So 0 is 0000. Then you have 0001. Then you have 0010. This is 0011. Then you have 0100. 5 is 101. 6 is 10110. 7 is 0111. It goes on 0111. It goes on till F is 1111. Okay. So this is how each number is being stored in your physical hard drive, or now when your processor tries to interpret a number, this is how it sees. Okay. So this number system is called as hexadecimal number system. Okay. It has 16 numbers. It's not just 10. So this is called as a hexadecimal number system. And so when we are writing code, usually what we do is in order to make the calculations a little bit simple, or in order to use some of the advanced features, we use hexadecimal number system instead of a normal number system. Okay. So I'll teach you like when you reach the point like where that number system would be used. So the next thing what we are going to see is we're going to see about the mathematical operations. We know that mathematical operations that Python support is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Then you have modulo and you have exponential. So addition is 1 plus 2. Subtraction, you know that it's 3 minus 1, it's 2. Then you have multiplication, let's say 3 into 2, that's 6. And you have division, 10 divided by 2, that's 5, right? And the next thing is modulus. Okay. So what is modulus? So what modulus is, modulus would give you. Yeah. Yeah. So the modulo operator is the percentage operator. 4 percentage 2. It would give you 0. That actually gives you the reminder. So I would say it's 5 percentage 2. So what is 5 percentage 2? 5 is actually 4 plus 1 divided by 2, right? So which means 4 goes into 2. So it's 2 with a reminder of 1. So it gives the reminder, which is 1. Or if you say 100 divided by 39, this is the quotient. But if I'm doing the modulo here, I actually get the reminder. It is 22 is the reminder. Okay, it's 2 into 39 plus 22. So to get the reminder directly, you use the percentage operator. Then you have something called the exponential operator. Exponential is 5. You get 5 into 5 gives you it's 5 raised to 5. Okay. Then you have, if you say 5 raised to 2 is 25, 5 raised to 3 is 125, 5 raised to 4 is 625, all those things. Okay. So this is more like calculating the exponential operator. All right. So these are the basic operations that a Python can do. Also, you will have the same operator also has, let's say, some standard built-in libraries, which like power of 5, 4 gives you 625. It is the same as this one. So, but this is a standard library that says POW is power. Okay. Then you have absolute value, ABS. Absolute value of for example, if you want to know what is absolute value of -2, it gives you 2. What is absolute value of minus 1029? It's, oh, sorry, it's 1029. Okay. So, and you also have something called round, which is like it will round off to the nearest integer. For example, 2.75 will be rounded off to 3. Okay. 2.51 would be rounded. 2.51 is rounded off to 3, right? 2.49 is rounded off to 2. Yeah, it rounds to the nearest integer. So this is about the basic internal functions, math functions. Then you have something called, there is a math library that is available with Python. So I can say import math, okay. I can say math dot sqrt square root of 2, right? It's 4.14. Or I can say square root of 16. That's 4, right? So that is, and about that, and you have something called random. So you can say import random. Then you can random would give you a random number, right? So these are sometimes used in the applications like dice and all those things, rolling the dice and those kind of applications. We use random to generate a random number out of which we can come up with a dice, right? So, so these are the basic mathematical functions that we are going to use while writing the code. All right. We might not be using all these features always, but these are some of them. And so these are so now you have got an idea of what a basic data type can do, right? So a data type, something like A, can store anything. Like unlike any other high-level programming languages, Python does not specify saying like a variable can store only a specific type of data. There is nothing like that. This A can store 10. Yes, A will be equal to 10. I can also say override the A with something called 10.223. Then A will be 10.223. I can also store A as hello world. Okay, then A is hello world, right? So there is no limit that you have to use a specific kind of data type.
But where did that whole data type thing that you said come up in this scenario?
So data types are interpreted by Python itself. You don't have to know about it, but Python is intelligent enough to know whether A is right now holding a string or a literal. Okay, so it's the Python interpreter itself. When you say A is equal to 10, Python understands that this is an integer. This is not a floating point number, and it stores the integer. Okay.
Okay.
So, but if you consider some other programming languages like C or C++, now what we do is if you are going to store a literal into a integer, or so you say like int C is equal to 10. Okay. So int means the C is now going to hold an integer. This is how you write the code in a C programming. Okay. Or you will say like float B is equal to 10.30. So and it will be string a is equal to hello world. This is how all the other programming languages work. But for Python, you just have to say a is equal to 10 or b is equal to 20.2003, c is equal to learn tech. Yeah. So this takes all this value. So if I print c is a, b. So you don't have to explicitly specify what is the data type that is going to be held in that particular variable. Okay. So moving on, we are going to the next section called arithmetic operations. So we have arithmetic operators, which are, let's say, here. Yeah. So we have arithmetic operators, then we have logical operators, then you have bitwise operators. Okay. So so one thing we have already seen about the arithmetical operators, which is plus, minus, into, and all those things. Then you have something called comparison operators. Okay. So what are comparison operators? Comparison operators help to compare between two variables, right? So a is equal. I have written a is equal to 10, right? So it will say if I'm saying a equal to b, it will say false because a is 10 and b is 20.0003, right? But if I'm changing b is equal to 10 also, then I can say a equal to b is true. Remember one thing, putting 1 equal to is an assignment operator where it takes this value and put it to this value. The moment you put double equal to, it goes into a comparison mode. I can say a equal to 10, it returns true. Okay. It doesn't save 10 to a. It actually does a comparison. But a equal to 10 stores the value into a. Okay. So this is equal to. Then you have something called not equal to, for example. So let's say b is 10.11. Then if I say a not equal to b, it says true. Yes, a is not equal to b, right? Then you have something called greater than or less than operators. And say a less than b is true, a greater than b is false, right? Then you have something called less than, and also you have a less than equal to b. Okay. Then you have greater than or equal to operator. Okay. So these are the basic comparison operators that are going to be used. Where do we use this comparison operators? We use this in conditional statements. Okay. And we will be seeing conditional statements in the next class. All right. And so next. So these are one kind of assigning statements, right? So these are, you know, that equal to, not equal to, greater than, equal to, less than or equal to. These are the comparison operators, right? Then you have another kind of operators that are called assignment operators. So we saw that one kind of assignment operators is a equal to 10 is assignment operator. And I know that a holds the value of 10. What if I have to increment the value of a by 10? So either I can write a is equal to a plus 10, right? It's 20. Or I can say a plus equal to 10. So what we'll do is it will take the a, it will add 10 to a and save it in a itself. A is 30. If I do it again, a becomes 40. So it takes the value at a, it increments it by 10 and saves it there itself. Okay. So then we have something, so the same thing also works with minus. Okay. A is 30. Then you can also actually minus again, then a will be 20. All right. Then we have, this also works with multiplication. Now A is 200, and it also works with division. Okay. So, so in the comparison operators, we were doing equal to, and you will be getting a value of true or false. Okay. And here we are going to increment the value by 10 or decrement the value by 10 or increment the value by whatever you need and save it in the same variable. All right. Yeah. And the next one, the thing what we have is the bitwise operators. Bitwise operators are and, or, not, and negative. It's negation, not negative. Okay. So what is the bitwise operator? So bitwise operator, what it does is it takes a bit and yeah. Bitwise operators are first one. This is the symbol for and, okay, or a pipe, okay. Yeah, this is not, and this is neg, okay. Yeah. So what does and do? And actually multiplies the two values, multiplies the 0 with 1, or adds 0 and 1, or 1 or 1, and not complements the value. If 0, it becomes 1, 1 becomes 0, and negation, it just does the same thing. Okay. So for example, there is something called a truth table. Let's say if you have for and, okay. Zero, 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 one, one, zero, one, one. So this is, let's say this is A, and this is B, and what we're going to do is A and B. Okay. So 0 and 0 is 0, and 0 and with 1 would be 0. You know it's multiplication, right? 0 into 1 is again 0, and 1 into 1 is always 1. Okay. And truth table for or, what? Okay. And again, you have A, you have B, you have A or B, 0, 0. So 0 or 0 is 0. Okay. 0 or 1 is 1. 1 or 0 is 1. 1 or 1 is 1. Okay. It's pretty much same as English, right? So 1 or 1, it's always 1. 1 or 0, it is the highest value is 1, you take the value. 0 or 1, the highest value is 1, you take the value. Here you take the least value. 0 and 0, 0. 0 and 1, 0. 1 and 0, 0. 1, 1, 1. So these are the bitwise operators. We use it when we have to do a bitwise operation on, setting a flag in the system or all those kind of things. We would later in this class, we will be seeing some advanced concepts where we will be using these functions. Okay. Yeah. So you guys are okay till now?
It's mostly like the and or usual programmatic.
Yeah. It's the basic programming one. Yes. Yeah. So these are the ground basics, right? Okay. So because this introduction class, I don't want to stretch it a lot today. Okay. So I think we'll just hang on here for now for today. You guys just go through these things, have a little idea, just play around if you can with this Python interpreter, see how it works. Okay. So tomorrow we will write our first code. We'll see how to get our user input, how to print it back to the screen. We will play around with whatever we have studied. We will write some basic codes on, creating a calculator or uh, uh, finding which is write a program for finding the which is the highest number kind of things. Okay, and we'll also jump into a little bit higher things like arrays and all those kind of things. Okay.
Avinash, I had one quick question on the whole
Go ahead.
thing. I was able to bring up the UI, and while you were doing it, I was also writing them back. All of the commands worked on those UI, the Python 3.6 32-bit.
Yeah.
But initially you said something where we wanted to go through the command prompt and type Python, and that is where I guess even Kishore had an issue. Right
Okay.
now, the whole installation, I guess, is working. I'm able to do whatever you are doing. But the variables that you said to select, I think the libraries, I guess, it's going to probably have an issue at later point of time, or I'm not doing it right.
Like you are saying, like import math was not working for you?
No, that is also working. Everything. Initially you said, go through the command prompt, right? When we did the install.
Consider this as two separate things. So one thing is the Python installation. Okay. So the problem that initially Kishore had was this Python installation was not entered in the command prompt. Like, for example, in Linux, you have the export variable, right? You guys are data warehousing. You have your system paths and export variables, right?
Right.
Yeah. So hers was not in the path directory. So usually in Linux and Unix, you have a path directory, right? So if I say $path, sorry. So if I say echo $path, that would give me all my system variables, right? These are the system paths that my operating system can always access from any point of time, right? So the one thing was Windows also have the same thing. Windows call it as the environmental variable. Okay. So for Kishore, I think when he installed, he never added Python into the environmental variable. Because of that, when you open command prompt or when you install Visual Studio Code, it will not be able to detect if a Python is installed in your system.
Yeah, so I did the CMD part of it, right? The command prompt, and I typed Python. It says.
So you are asking about in the Visual Studio Code we installed a Python extension.
No. I'm talking about the initial installation itself.
Okay.
Like, if you go to that command prompt and it says user your default directory, you said you type Python, right?
Yes.
I did type. I'm literally talking about the command prompt. I'm not. There is an UI for Python itself, which comes up in the machine.
Yes.
When I go to that default path, the user path, and I type Python, it says Python is not recognized as an internal or external command. So my installation itself was failure, or is it something that's going to trouble me at later point of time? I don't think the installation is.
No. Yeah. So as long as if your CMD can detect Python from any point of any directory that is there. So from your default directory, when you type Python, you are able to see Python.
No, I'm not. I'm seeing Python is not recognized as internal.
Yes, but if you go to the Python installation folder and when you say Python, it recognizes it, right?
Okay, I literally need to go to the Python installation.
Yeah, go to CD wherever you have installed your Python. If you go to that place, you will be able to see. So the point is, for you again, you have done the same thing. It is not installed in your system variables. So just open the same, double click the Python installation again, go to modify and add it onto your system variable and install it again. That would fix this issue.
Yeah, I actually did that. Okay. Because I'm
Uh,
actually working on a different machine. I probably not able to save. But let me
oh,
try it out today.
okay.
We'll probably get there.
Yeah. So if you can like install it for all users, not just for one. Okay. So if you have any options like that. So usually if you have multiple logins, then they will ask if you want to use it only for one user or do you want it for the all users, right? So give it for all users, then it would get added onto your system variable. So Windows is kind of odd, like it has different kinds of it. There is a local variable and global variable. So if it is in your local variable, sometimes it will not work. So it will be added to global if you select like everybody can install. That's why I asked you initially whether you have the admin privileges.
Yes.
Yeah. Just try installing it again. It should work. Just make sure you add it to the system variable. That would be added. If not, let me know tomorrow. I can add it manually for you in the system variables.
Yeah, I did. I mean, there's two libraries. I mean, one was the system variables, the other one was pre-compiled.
Yeah.
Both of them trying to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, we can add it manually tomorrow. If you know where it is, where it got installed, then we can actually add that manually into the system variable. All right.
And the other quick question, uh, these weekend classes, I mean, would be around 2 hours or,
We would be somewhere around 2 to 2.5 hours. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So you guys are all in the same time zone EST?
Yeah, I'm
I,
in EST. Yeah.
You're in EST? Okay, I'm in CST. Yeah. I'm actually 1 hour behind you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. All right then.
So
Uh,
one question.
yeah.
So like all Python commands and programs we are writing in CMD only or any other?
We will be writing in the Visual Studio Code. I will teach you how to write it in Visual Studio Code. We will be using CMD for uh, running your program sometimes. Okay. And we will be using Visual Studio Code for debugging your program.
Okay.
Okay.
I was able to set it up now. When I do the CMD, I'm able to get the Python version.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's what we need. What we will be doing is, this is where we are going to write the code. Okay.
Okay.
And this is where you are going to run the code.
So what you actually did is more like the line commands, right? And I mean, you would get the answers promptly, right?
So,
For what you did. That was not the programming that you did. It's more like the prompt kind of
uh,
indicator.
yeah, so this is called as the Python live interpreter.
Okay.
Okay. So in Python interpreter, the moment what happens is whatever line that you write is interpreted on the fly. All right. The moment you press enter to the next line, that line is interpreted. Okay. When you write it inside a file, the same interpretation happens, but it happens inside a file, not in the command prompt, right? Because this is not practical, right? This is more like a introductory session, or you can just check your logic whether it works or not in this Python interpreter.
So,
But the moment you want to deploy your code, you cannot write it in a command line. You have to write it in a file, right? That's how you deploy.
oh,
So this is more for deployment cases, like where you are going to write the whole function, like the whole program inside a proper file, and this is where you use it. Like, if you just have it here, I can say, for example, if I want to create a calculator, then I can say like import math. Okay, so then you can say a is equal to 10, enter a, b is equal to 10, c is equal to a plus b, print c, like, okay, print c, right? So, but if I'm writing it in my code here, Okay. So for example, I'll just move the cell over. I can say A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, C is equal to A plus B. Okay. And I can say print C. Okay. And I can save it. I can reach here. I can say Python 3 hello world.py. It gives me 30. Okay. So it did the same thing. So it's the same thing. Only thing is here, every line that you write is interpreted on the fly. And the moment I wrote print C, I got the answer. Here I write all the statements inside a file and I run the file and I get my answer. Okay. So this is where you write the code where you get some inputs from the user, then you manipulate those inputs, and those kind of things can happen if you're using in a file. So this is where we will be working on. All right. Yeah. And for testing our logic and debugging our logic, we will be using the interpreter window. Okay. Yeah. Any more doubts? All good?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Okay. Then I think we can continue tomorrow. We'll be writing our first program and we'll see in depth on other basic features of Python. All right.
9:30, right?
Same time. Yeah. 9:30 EST.
Okay, all right.
Because it's just 9:30 for me now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Fine, guys. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, Anusha.